order to suppress the forthcoming excitement.
Our cradle, our protective shell, became a deadly trap. It got too small and we wouldn't stop growing. We had to get out. We challenged the stars, but they were beyond our reach. It would seem that, as a species, we have finally reached our limit. Until now. Introducing the core. Using the latest advancements in biotechnology, we can digitize what makes us human. Creativity, consciousness, resilience, empathy, and stored in secure psyche units, cores. Enter the era of portable population. On the far side of the universe, we found a place to start again. We build Mobius, an orbital city floating above planet Vulcan. There, stored securely in cores, the future citizens await its completion. Free of past limitations, we have finally conquered time and space. With core technology, we render human life cycle obsolete. Thus, Project Eden began.
You know what I hate the most about this place? It's in the air. Every corner here reeks of it. A wolf in sheep's clothing called a compromise.
Warning.
What is going on, Game Fiends, and welcome back to another episode of Controller Chronicles. Today we're going to take a look at Metal Eden. This is a full review, 100%. Finished it in about 8 hours or so. The gameplay you see in the background is on normal. It is not on the hardest difficulty, which is something I usually do, but for review purposes, I wanted to do it on normal because this is what most of you may play it on.
A wolf in sheep's clothing called
Metal Eden comes from Rycon, the developer of the 2017 awesome twin-stick shooter, Ruiner. Once you step into the world, you'll soon see a lot of similarities in its art style and music, right down to the audio conversations that litter the game from beginning to end. You'd think they'd be making Ruiner 2, not a fast-paced first-person shooter, similar to games like Titanfall and Ghost Runner, but I gotta say, it was a pretty damn sweet ride. We are going to break down the game in a couple of categories: story, characters, graphics, audio, combat, difficulty, trophies, bugs, all that stuff. So let's get right into the story. You are an advanced hyperunit Asuka who is sent in on a suicide mission to rescue the citizens' cores from the vast monolithic city Mobius, once a hopeful new home for humanity, now turned into a deadly trap. Blast your way through the internal defense corps in cybernetic warfare against the machine forces that protect the secrets of an artificial world. You'll fight a diverse roster of tough, agile mecha troops and elemental forces. Extract energy cores and destroy the internal defense corps shields to gain a battle zone advantage. Develop your arsenal and combat capabilities to become an unstoppable hyperunit to confront the engineers and uncover the mysteries of Project Eden. But through all this, who is Asuka? And what about her hidden past and her connection to the catastrophic erosion bomb, the force that nearly wiped out humanity on planet Mobius? This is a descent into the cryptic atmospheric world of Metal Eden. It's an invitation to embark on an immersive journey, one that puts Asuka into focus, one that bridges lost identity, devastating tech, and a crumbling digital frontier. So that is pretty much the synopsis from Rycon Games on their Metal Eden website. Kind of grabbed all that stuff and put it together. So for me, the story is actually pretty nice. It wasn't the greatest story, but it still captivated me. I still wanted to learn who these characters were, what was Nexus's purpose, who was the operator, who was the architect. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces, and it really interests me moving further, trying to get to, you know, certain areas and obviously finish the game to see what the hell was going on. As far as the characters are concerned, they're pretty well developed through the story progression and interruptions from one of the other main characters, Nexus, played by Keith Silverstein. He also plays the operator in the game. It's these moments that help craft the story and guide you deeper into your mission, a la Ruiner if you play that. On a side note, if you haven't played Ruiner, I recommend you give it a shot because I think they're making a part 2. At least that's what it seems like, and I hope so. Anyway, you can buy it on PlayStation Store for $3.99 and Steam for $19.99 as of September 7th, 2025. All right, back to the program. You also come across other characters through the story progression, of course. Aside from Nexus, the OS and city security is played by Alexandra Guelph. The Overseer is played by Matt Yulish, the Architect by David Mencken, and of course, the protagonist, Ashka, is played by Elizabeth Maxwell. The acting is top-notch and works extremely well for the type of world Rykon has built.
They will never learn. Forever trapped within the vicious cycle of iteration.
As far as graphics are concerned, Metal Eden features impressive cyberpunk graphics with a high-tech utopia aesthetic, characterized by sharp angles, simple textures, and soaring structures beyond the horizon. The game utilizes the Unreal Engine 5, noted for having smooth performance and a high particle count, creating a visually rich but sometimes stale cyberpunk look when you compare it to Ruiner, at least on PS5 Pro. However, the strong visuals and art direction save it from falling short. The enemies are well detailed and the particle effects from your weapons are a joy to look at when you use them. Even the explosions and deaths of enemies all look good. However, the game still suffers from some slight issues. There was some sharpness concerns and obviously some frame drops here and there. Nothing too crazy, but definitely noticeable even on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Level design was good in a lot of places, but can also be repetitive. In some instances, I felt like I had seen an area before based on its layout. Doesn't happen often, but wanted to point that out. Some of the levels have a choice of high and low areas where it gives you an option to use the grapple or the wall running. Locations where you use the Rambo all look the same and never really introduced anything new or unique to that system, nor did they really put you in a position where you were stuck only using that form of Ashka, something I think could have been interesting to see if they developed levels solely for the Rambo. A missed opportunity in my book because it was fun to use.
Approaching target zone.
All right, let's get into the gameplay combat. Metal Eden wastes no time and throws you right into combat as the game shows you the mechanics of the gameplay, from shooting to ripping cores, war running, sidestepping, grappling, and even bullet time. All this is done in an orderly fashion to get you up to speed quick so you can be prepared for the various encounters ahead of you. The war running feels good and responsive enough to engage with enemies and is a must-use in order to grab items like ammo, health, and armor. It's also a way to disengage from combat when it gets too spicy. You come armed to the teeth with powerful weapons. Some work better on certain enemies, and that's something you have to pay attention to when you decide to upgrade them. Each weapon upgrade comes with 2 options to choose from. Pick wisely and pay attention to the video instructions for each upgrade because you will not have an opportunity to upgrade both options on all the weapons. So here is what the checkpoint looks like where you're able to upgrade the weapons. This is the main weapon you get in the very beginning, the SMG, so you can only upgrade this up to 3 times, that's it. Here is the pistol, one of my favorite weapons in the game, and as you see, I picked the lower part to upgrade, and then the next 2 options make that upgrade much more powerful. Here's what the video looks like, right? Use this so you can get a better idea of what you're purchasing, but in order to pick up what you want, you have to collect dust. the currency in the game. Make sure to also look for secret rooms that hold a lump sum of dust aside from other items in there. You'll also get to use your melee as a super crunch if you absorb a core, thus giving you another option to break armor off enemies without having to always constantly use your weapons. And as far as how many weapons you get, there are 7 in total. You'll also be able to upgrade modules on your suit when you finish encounters and get to certain checkpoints. You have options for bodysuit, core ripping, and core power. Like upgrading your weapons, you also are limited to where you want to waste your upgrade point on. I wasn't able to fully spec out my suit by the end of the game. Found that to be a bit weird and disappointing. The option of the Rambo is a nice touch, but felt like a second thought, something they decided to put in late game. It was fun to speed through levels, stop and electrify enemies, and then finish them off with lockdown rockets. Very satisfying indeed. Though it was fun to use, I felt that was never really a necessity. I was never put in a position to solely use the Rambo, only at times when I had to cross lava. But even then, I could do the level as Ashka until I got to those lava points, turn into the Rambo to cross the lava and turn back to Ashka. However, all this makes for an engaging game that comes full circle and making the gamer feel more powerful during each encounter as you got further and further into the game.
Warning, ISC units inbound.
If you love techno or electronic music, you'll love the tunes in Metal Eden. It was heart-pounded and intense on my 5.1 surround sound. It also resonated great in headphones. The guns all sounded great and very pronounced when using them, and the armor break ring was very satisfying. Overall, the music was well placed in keeping the momentum going and getting you pumped up for that encounter you were heading to.
I can't help but laugh. Why can't we embrace the fact that we are truly the architects of our own fortune?
If you've been following me, you know I play the hardest difficulty available in any game. For this review, I played it on normal in order to finish it as fast as I could in order to do this critique. Playing it on normal is good enough for any player out there. Difficulty spiked as you got further in the game, but there was never a point where I found myself struggling at any moment. My demise came mostly when I missed a wall running sequence, never really in battle.
It's because sometimes things just don't work out.
From looking at the list, there is nothing out of the ordinary to try to achieve or anything that seems super hard to accomplish. It's all based on time played as you see here, so it should be a pretty easy platinum. As mentioned before, Metal Eden was done on UE5. Aside from the frame rate issue and sharpness on PS5 Pro, there were some concerns with enemies. Sometimes an enemy would stop moving and just stay there, frozen in time. There was also an instance where you're going to see here where an enemy was invisible. The only way I could see it and shoot it was to put my crosshairs from where the missiles were coming from and shoot it when the crosshairs turned red, destroying the flying ship. Because invisible enemies are not a thing in the game. Annoying.
Second wave incoming. Dopamine administered. Rebuild. Plastics engaged. Backup frame check completed.
Metal Eden was a nice surprise to see when it was unveiled earlier this year. Playing the demo, though it had its faults, was a thrill to play, and it got the Will It Play approval from my serious Demo of the Week. With its blazing fast action, cyberpunk theme, and great sounding soundtrack, Metal Eden may be the best FPS of 2025. If you're a fan of Ruiner, Titanfall, or Ghost Runner, you may just like what you play and see. On top of that, you can check out the demo, which was just updated with the fixes and now ends a little later in the game. So go download it, come back, and leave your comments below to let me know how you liked it. As for me, I'm gonna go play it on Brutal now. Alright, Video Game Fiends, that is it for the second episode of Controller Chronicles, a series in which I review a game that I 100% go a little in-depth into what the game offers you and what the game is like. I hope you found this helpful. This was a lot of work. This was the first, well, not the first time, but close to the first time of me writing down a bunch of notes so that I can get this right and give you the most information possible about the game. As a small channel, all these reviews are being done out of my pocket, so I'm the one spending the money. No developer is sending me anything yet. Hopefully in the future, when I get a little bigger, maybe that'll be a thing. But for now, I would appreciate it if you at least like the video to help me get in the algorithm and to let me know whether you liked it or not. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and liking the video. I would love for you to join me on my video gaming journey. And if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate your support. If you want to see more content like this, please do what my beautiful goddaughter loves to say.
Like and subscribe.
On to the next one. Keep on gaming.
Impact on you. How do you feel?
I feel stronger.
We're playing with a double-edged sword here. Acquiring Apex cores will boost your hyperpowers, but it will make you increasingly prone to the erosion.
Hyperunit, confirm your status. Hyperunit, confirm your status.
In the name of duty, courage, and truth, I will protect the citizens.
The citizens dwell in the dark. We are their only hope. Let's strive to make it to the finish line.
Hyperunit is mission go. Prepare for deployment. Mission start in 3, 2, 1. Commencing orbital strike. Give 'em hell, Hyper.